Paul Holland at Paul H66 runs. Can you see Mercedes making another move for Max for 2026? He seems pretty frustrated with the car, and with George out of contract at the end of the year, there is a potential opening. So it's not just me, it's not just you, Ted, it's not just Bernie. It feels like it is a rolling stone and it is gathering moss.
Max Verstappen's future at Red Bull is uncertain. Could he be eyeing a new team? Watch this video to uncover the reasons why.
Yes, if that's the case. If
Paul runs, I'm sure Paul runs doesn't gather any moss. The only thing I would say against it is that there is how should we call it? I think a kind of burden of history that might make the Max to Mercedes link kind of less likely than Max to Aston Martin. I know a lot of water's been under the bridge since 2021. I'm not talking about Abu Dhabi. I'm talking about the intense nature of the fight between Mercedes and Red Bull in 2021. The Silverstone accident, where Max and his manager and his dad were furious with Toto Wolff for celebrating, quote, like he'd won the world championship when Lewis won that race, without they felt a thought for Max's well-being and a trip to Northampton General. So there has to be, I know there's a lot of water under the bridge since then, but I just feel that there's more of it would be easier culturally in terms of Max's affinity with Adrian Newey to go to Aston Martin than Mercedes. I see that happening more, and hoping that the Honda will be as good as the Mercedes power unit in 2026, but knowing that Aston have Adrian and Mercedes don't.
Could Max Verstappen truly find the success he's looking for at Aston Martin? With Adrian Newey's expertise, it seems like a tempting prospect. But is the team prepared to give Max the tools he needs to continue his dominance in Formula One? And with Mercedes' potential resurgence in 2026, will Max overlook the past for the chance to drive a winning car, or will his loyalty to Adrian Newey and Red Bull be too strong to break?
Everybody's talking about it in the paddock. There's no two ways about it. You go up to people from Dutch media. Some of them are saying, we think it's done already. Others are saying he's in discussions. I mean, look, this is the nature of it. Right? We might as well report what we see, report what we hear. Names will remain anonymous, but there are some that are saying he's going off to Aston Martin. There are some that say, why on earth, when we think that the dynos and the info coming out of Brixworth is that Mercedes is looking really strong for 2026. If you're going to back both of those, Aston Martin are at a phase of their life where they're trying to rebuild with Andy Cowell and Enrico Cardile and of course Adrian Newey. Whereas Mercedes are established; they're established as winners. If you're Harry Soden or manager of George Russell, and the way he's performing at the moment, if he does the same at Saudi, you're not banging on Toto's door saying we need to get this contract sorted straight away, because you've got one eye on what's happening at Red Bull and thinking he's not happy there. He can't be happy there the way the car's going at the moment. So is he not going to be looking elsewhere for 2026?
Max Verstappen is undoubtedly the most coveted driver in F1 right now. But with Aston Martin rebuilding and Mercedes looking to be a powerhouse in 2026, where does Max go to secure more titles? Can he afford to stick with Red Bull's current struggles? What would it take for him to make such a bold move? And is he really unhappy at Red Bull?
He definitely is. When I was just going to pick up on Ted's point and say that someone of Max's ability and his desire, we see this desire to win, this desire to be the best, to get the world championships. He's not happy unless he's winning races. And I think despite all of the water under the bridge or history, I think he will, I have the impression he'll just go where he thinks is the best chance of winning. Whichever team on paper he thinks has the best chance of winning, I imagine will be his preference. And he'll be fit to put all that other stuff potentially out of the way. But, I don't know the guy. I just based on, that strong desire that we see within him to be winning. And it's going to be a very tight call because we don't have all the information about which engine is going to be best, which chassis is going to be best. It's going to be a very, very difficult call, that one. And if we look at some of the brilliant world championships that we've had, world champions, and some that haven't done so well, a lot of it has come down to this crucial decision of which team to go to. You know, Alonso arguably should have scored more if he'd always chosen the right car. There's other champions that have won world championships because they've been in the right car. So these decisions are crucial to the next world championship that Max can win, I think. And often we put it down to their driving, but very, in history, a lot of the which car you can get into at the right time has made a big difference as well.
Max Verstappen's unwavering desire to win could lead him to make a pivotal decision for 2026. In F1, the team you're with can often make or break a world championship, and that's a decision Max won't take lightly. Max's future choices are crucial, not only for his career, but also for the F1 landscape.
Takes me back. I don't know if it takes you back as well, Ted, when we were stood in Monza and Niki Lauda and Toto Wolff had pulled out the stops to convince Lewis Hamilton that Mercedes was the right place to be for the turbo hybrid era, and how well that worked out for them both. It strikes me that now Max Verstappen is in that position whereby everybody up and down the paddock think that he's the best driver, and he's proved it over the last 4 years that he is the man that everybody wants. So does he have that luxury now of the others courting him and saying, okay, we need you for this next period because we know just how good you are?
Yeah, I mean, A, does he want to continue? Does Max want to continue at all, or has he had enough? I think he does want to continue. B, does he think that Aston Martin is, especially with how low they are at the moment, and they have more of a time to make up, might be too much of an ask for 2026? And C, does he think that even though Mercedes aren't exactly winning races at the moment, it's going to be so power unit dominated that we're just going to have what's the new phrase that's come in? Energy starvation, or there's what was it?
Is it going to be energy? It's going to be an economy formula, isn't it?
Economy formula. Yeah, it's going to be so.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, we're going to be so the power unit's going to be struggling so much to generate enough electrical energy to use on deployment that they're going to have to be harvesting it, this way, that way, and basically the driver running a hand generator if he could, or a pedalo. There isn't enough ways for the power units in the cars to actually generate the electricity that they're allowed to use on a sort of power boost in the corners. That's why they're afraid that they're going to be harvesting energy on the straights, and so people are going to be just going past them. And if they are, and Mercedes have sorted that out, the gaps are going to be so much different that any Adrian Newey genius in the chassis will be completely negated by having the best power unit and hybrid system and KERS system. So I think that will guide Max's thinking more. So to go back to your question about George Russell's manager, I think Toto might find himself sort of unavailable, mysteriously unavailable, not being in his office fishing all the time.
Just put the gone fishing sign on. Yeah.
Harry comes to the office. Where's Toto? I had a meeting with him. I don't know. I haven't seen him for a while. Toto's like in a cupboard, hiding under the bed.
Exactly.
Max's next move will be about more than just driving ability. It's about picking the team that can deliver in 2026. With Mercedes facing power unit challenges, the balance could shift toward teams like Aston Martin with a solid chassis and Adrian Newey's influence. How he navigates the power unit battles and chassis designs will shape his legacy for years to come.